this one. And this one. So seekers can only succeed what it means. It means unqualified mind cannot find the real self. And unqualified mind cannot succeed in meditation. Qualified mind succeeds in meditation. So what happens when the mind is qualified? So what happens when the mind is qualified? That mind illumines the real self. That mind illumines or illumines the real self. That needs to be kept in mind completely. Seeker only succeeds means the qualified mind. So when we have a qualified mind, then whether you say meditation succeeds or real, we find the real self. My mind is qualified. That's why I know you. You're Sam, you're Stephen, you're David. But to find the real self, my mind has to be qualified. My mind is qualified to know you, to get a lot of information about the world. Are you getting it? Say yes. We identify ourselves with the problems, with the pain and the suffering. That is why we say there is no one in the world who does not suffer, who has not suffered, who is not suffering. We do not understand clearly what exactly is the suffering, and therefore our mind becomes unqualified. So, understanding is required, the knowledge is required. So, once we have the right knowledge, and then we say, that is why we say we have two sets of problems. One is the objective problems. Problem means problem, pain, suffering. You can include all those things. We have a physical suffering. We have a suffering coming from natural calamities. So that is the objective problem. So for objective problem, we have to find an objective solution. And for subjective problem, we have to find a subjective solution. Insecurity, dissatisfaction, anxiety, unhappiness, fear. They all live inside you. They are subjective problems. Science has done a remarkable work. I'm just moving only focused on the knowledge, qualified mind. But today, these two verses will clarify that how to go about not only the meditation, how to bring an end to the suffering, why the teacher talks a lot, why they have to talk. So one is the objective problem, means the material problem. Other is the existential problems. What is that existential problem? I have a fear, I have anxiety, I have duality, I have dissatisfaction, I have insecurity. They all live in the mind. I am hungry, I can eat the food. So from where, after explaining this, once we are clear, then what should we do? Buddha says one-pointed solution, know thyself. Shankara, the great master, Vivekananda, other masters says, Peace is your essential nature. Happiness is your essential nature. Inquire into it, find it after making the mind qualified. And then you will continue to be in the state of peace and happiness. Other master says that real self is there. It is of the nature of truth, infinity, consciousness. But how to understand that? So that is why the master that we are studying, his teachings, he says we have to use a metaphor to understand it. Metaphor. But before reminding the metaphor, remember the spider. Spider creates everything. Spider creates the entire network from itself, lives in the same web, takes birth in the same web, dies in the same web. Metaphor. So now these metaphors are symbols, these images, comparisons, simile, to understand a concept or a reality. It helps us to vividly visualize unfamiliar concepts. We have been talking about real self. So what exactly is this real self? So that is why I gave an example of spider. Spider creates everything from itself, not from outside. The real self creates everything. I'm using the word creates, but the proper word should be manifest. The real self manifests everything out of itself. So once we understand this, then we can easily understand the metaphor. And I've been using that metaphor. It's a canvas. This master is saying this canvas, pure canvas, white canvas, no activity. Then it is touched. It is the causal stage, third stage, the subtle stage. So that and fourth stage is the entire world. So here the master says that real self is the pure consciousness. And then there is a trigger like the spider. We have the causal stage. Then this consciousness is borrowed by the mind, it becomes the causal body. And that mind creates the world in itself. That is separate from the pure consciousness. That is separate from the canvas. Nothing happens to the canvas. Every painting, different colors are painted on the canvas, not in the canvas. So I want to take help of another master before we go further. He says that consciousness is not a part of the thought, but it is present in the thought. See that? I know you, but I'm not present in you physically, mentally. So to know the world outside is very easy, even if the mind is not qualified. But the consciousness is not the part of the thought. Consciousness is not a property of the thought. Consciousness is not a product of the thought. Consciousness is different from the thought. Consciousness pervades the thought and independent of the thought, when associated, creates an experience. Think. The moment, oh, you are Stephen, so this is a thought. Consciousness is associated with a thought. And I know Stephen. I know Sam. We're going a little deeper. I told you that the 15 or 16th verses He summarizes everything, and after 15 and 16th verses, we go deeper into elaborate explanations. First 18 verses gives us a brief. Then it takes us to the higher consciousness by understanding, by knowledge. So in the next verse, it is better to repeat that next verse and then we will understand. So in the 12th verse, first thing is very clear that mind borrows the consciousness, then mind enlivens, mind becomes consciousness. It is a conscious mind. Through the conscious mind, I'm talking. Through the conscious mind, you are listening. Through the conscious mind, we have a session. So this is the world outside. So that world lives in the mind. It is not living in the consciousness. It is separate. It is independent. That is why I said consciousness is not the part, product, property of a thought. So now, with that understanding, we are moving into the verse number 12 that it says what it says. Mind becomes the thinker, mind or intellect. The mind or intellect becomes the thinker and the knower. So now the master says, therefore, as a seeker, always inquire. What to inquire? Inquire into the world, the universe outside. Inquire into the nature of an individual. How I am an individual. No, we normally say, one of my friend here, no, it's a privacy issue. She told me everything, but then she says it's a privacy issue. So who is that individual? Who is seeking that privacy? So again, I'm coming. Therefore, Master says, therefore, as a seeker, always inquire into this universe, first thing, nature of the individual and the real self. Why? So the master says, when the ideas about an individual and the universe are understood, what is to be understood? They are false. So when they are false, they are to be negated. So when they are negated, what is left? Real self. So we have found the real self. That is the climax of meditation. Climax of meditation. So in the 12th verse, after giving a detailed explanation of the metaphor, the master says inquiry is the only way to reach to the final stage of meditation. But why inquiry? And what inquiry? What is the inquiry? What is the nature of the universe? What is the exact nature of an individual? And what is real self? So if I negate the first two, I find the real self. Is it difficult? No, we are doing it all the time. Ocean, wave, water. What is the truth of that? Ocean and the wave, water. So when you negate wave and the ocean, the water is left. I'm making it simple, and then whatever master says, the first step is the inquiry, is to discover what is false. We get identified with the false and then we start crying, we continue to suffer in our life. Examine first what appears true is not true. First, inquire, examine what appears true is not true, then examine who is pushing me to be doer and the enjoyer. Am I really a doer as an individual? And we discover the pure consciousness. We are going to, after inquiry, the truth is established. In the verse number 13 and the 14, explain. Now, what is the process? What we have understood that first I have to understand individual and the universe, and I see the validity of it. If it is true, I accept it. If it is not true, I negate it. How I negate it? How I negate the wave to declare that it is water inside my head. I'm not doing it outside. No physical activity. I'm not a doer. I'm not an engineer. I'm simply understanding that. So that understanding is the knowledge. So once we have understood this, Master says the process of inquiry has to be understood. The moment we understand the very process, we apply that anywhere and everywhere. We are always in the state of meditation. So the Master says, before you approach the teacher, as a seeker, never leave the practice of meditation. Continue to contemplate and reflect during the day. When you continue to practice meditation, continue to contemplate and reflect. For example, I have a lot of stress. So let me understand the very nature of the stress in me, nature of the suffering, nature of the anxiety, nature of the duality. I must inquire whether it is valid or not. If it is not valid, the very understanding of the nature of the suffering gets you rid of the suffering. I have already explained you the existential suffering, insecurity, dissatisfaction, anxiety, emotional dependence, fear, they will disappear. I'm not talking of material problems. If I'm hungry, I have to eat food from outside. Learning and listening the knowledge. I have to continue the practice regularly to keep the mind in the state of being qualified. So we have reached to the three things, and I have been repeating it from this same text. Who am I? I should know it. What is this world? I should know it. And what is the existence? I should know it. So when I start inquiring who am I, the whatever I feel as who am I realize it is false, and that is why it is causing the problem. That is why I'm suffering. So the nature of the individual, nature of the world, and then I reach to the real self. That is what the Eastern wisdom does to all of us. We have heard about electron microscope, bioscope, telescope. This is Eastern wisdom scope. Scope means vision, seeing, seeing here and now. And it should take place in my mind. It should. Which mind? Mind that is qualified. We do it all the time. The water is negated in a mirage, is it not? We negate the water in the mirage. No, it's a mirage. The blueness of the sky is negated in the sky, is it not? We do it. So the moment mind says you are an individual, it is only a conscious mind, it is negated. The moment you are negating the individual idea that is only a conscious mind, only the individual gets angry and agitated over others. Now it is only a conscious mind. I'm equating. Water is negated in the mirage. Blueness of the sky is negated in the sky. Same way, that conscious mind gives me an experience of a reaction and anger over you. From nowhere, the conscious mind acts as an individual because of the impurity of the mind that is negated. It is gone. Are you getting it? I have to listen to it again and again. The conscious mind. Conscious mind has an experience of anxiety, of duality, of a conflict. Falsely, it creates an idea that I am angry. Anger is there in the mind. Are you getting it? So once you negate it, you are free. Negated means what? What is to be negated? What is to be negated is false. What is left is the pure consciousness. And that state is known as meditation. You had a nightmare. You saw the dream. You wake up. Don't you negate the dream? We are doing it all the time. We negate the dream. No, it's not real. I saw the dream. So we negate the appearance of the reality of the dream. Clear? Not very deep, not very complex. I negate the appearance of the reality of the dream. I negate the appearance of the water in the sand that creates a mirage. It happens. Let me make it a little more close. I negate in you appearance of a husband or a wife. Make it a little deeper. I negate the appearance of a son and the daughter in you or in him. Mirage water is false, so it should be negated. Similarly, that individual, that feeling, that individual identification is negated. What is left is the conscious mind. Once you negate it, the moment the mind is negated, the world it has created is also negated. Means it is also seen as a false. So when it is also seen as a false, what is left is the pure consciousness. Where is pure consciousness? That is what the mindfulness is. Let me return again. Very important point. In the knowledge, I negated the water in the mirage, but I continue to see the mirage. I continue to see the water. Do you see that? I continue to see the blueness of the sky, even I negate it. I have understood it inside. So what is Eastern wisdom? Eastern wisdom says that knowledge can help you realize the real self. One. Knowledge of the Eastern wisdom helps us to recognize and realize and awaken to the real self, but it will not stop the appearance. That is the biggest challenge that makes you the highest level of a seeker. It will not stop the appearance of many people are attending and listening the session. This is only an appearance. Are you getting it? I believe so. It will not stop the appearance, but it is negated in my mind. So all the craziness of my mind has already gone. The mind is acting like a mirror. It reflects the real self. Because of the science, we understand sun never rises, sun never sets. Are you clear? But the appearance of the rising sun and setting sun is always there. Ah, it's evening. Let's have a dinner. It's afternoon. Let's have a lunch. This is what the master is saying, that I have to be very clear. Earth is, you see the earth. In your home, it is stationary, but it is not. It is not. So what master is pointing out, that the knowledge cannot stop the appearance. What appears true is not true. So it will continue to appear, and I have to see deeper inside in the knowledge that I am the real self. I have negated the stationary idea of the earth. So I know the earth is always moving. But have you ever seen the earth is moving? How do you know it? How do you know? I know it. Where I know it? That is the where appearance of reflected image. Appearance of reflected image, that I-ness is not negated. That is why I say I'm teaching you, I'm speaking. But the fact is that I is not there. It is only the real self. I is just like a water reflected in the mirrors. I is just like the blueness of the sky. Now, when you treat this I like this, will you ever be into anxiety and fear? Ask yourself. There's no question. Mind is there, so whatever we experience that is taking place in the mind, that I cannot, it will continue to appear. But now I know that it is false. I know it is false. When I know it is false, I know the earth is not stationary, it is false. I negated it. No, it's not wave. I negated it here. The wave continues to appear. For I will continue to appear as an individual, but the fact conscious mind has created this individual, and then it gets associated, then it identifies, it causes the attachment and detachment and desire and anger and hesitation and duality and a conflict. From one thought, millions of the thoughts. Millions of the thoughts, delusion. What is delusion? What appears true is not. It will continue to appear, but I have negated in the mind. That is why we say, close your eyes and start the meditation. That is why we have to look inside. We have not to look outside. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. You see that? That's why I say close your eyes. I will contemplate on these simple principles. So eyes are closed. Did you close, or is it the conscious mind? How simple it is to understand. But if eyes are like any solid object, can you really close? So it belongs to the world. It does not belong to me. You're working at a very subtler level of awareness. Oh, you are right. I'm not the eyes, obviously. Settle into the comfort. Ask yourself, who is settling into the comfort? Are you talking to the body? But I'm not the body. It's 100% clear. Oh, so the body is being settled. You just find out, inquire into the very nature of an individual in us. How I am an individual. There's body, mind, intellect, ego, millions of the thoughts, anxiety, duality, pleasure. This is the world the mind has created. So the mind normally asks, who has created? So I have created. Who is this I? Who is this I? Where is the I? Only a qualified mind can inquire in such a subtler way. Follow the same. Looking at the neck joint. The conscious mind is looking at the neck joint. Feel and experience sensation, comfort, and steadiness. Who is experiencing? All experiences takes place in the mind. The space, awareness of the space deeper inside. Who? Mind. All experiences takes place in the mind, including the knowledge also takes place in the mind. So our conscious mind compares the previous experience with current experience of sensation, comfort, and steadiness. And from nowhere, this I comes and I says, yes, I'm relaxed. Again, I'm relaxed. I'm comfortable. Who is this I? Is this body? No. So I'm negating. I'm negating that this body is not me. I'm not negating the body. And there all the lot of confusion comes, and that's why we do not reach to the highest state. I'm not negating the body. I'm negating an idea that this body is me. I believe we have been following the sessions regularly so you can easily understand. So again, what I knowledge of appearance, when I recognize the real self, the appearance will never go. The body is not going anywhere. A subtler, little deeper level of awareness is needed. Nothing more than that. So, looking at the shoulder joints, Looking at the wave, if I say, internally you know it is water. Do you also internally know? Yeah, looking at the neck, shoulder joint is okay. Experience of sensation, comfort, and steadiness is okay. That too is okay. The space is okay. So what I did, I negated a deluded identity that I believe you're getting it. I'm translating what we discussed into almost a non, why should I say almost? It is a non-practice. The entire body feeling, experience of sensation, comfort, and steadiness happening in the mind. So when the mind is impure, when we are unqualified seeker, why unqualified seeker? We have lot of desires, we have lot of attachment and detachment, likes and dislikes, and the delusion. That mind will never become aware, will never agree, will never accept that I am not there. That I exist because of the desire, because of the pain, because of the suffering, because of the pleasure, because of identification. So the entire body sensation, you're fully aware. Sensation, I know there is a sensation. So when I say I know, no, it's the conscious mind knows there is a sensation. It knows the comfort. It knows the steadiness. It is knowing the space. And you are exploring, is there any I, an individual? If it is there, so you can share the experience. So the master says, inquire into the nature of an individual and universe so that we see they appear to exist but do not, then what is left is the real self. So one is affirmation of real self and other is negation of what appears to exist. I've been telling you, we just discussed. Wave appears to exist, it will continue to exist. Truth, water. Body appears to exist, mind will appear to exist, but I am pure consciousness. Yes, pick up what we say, witnessing the thought. Thought comes and goes. Yes, somebody told me that, after all, I'm watching the thought and I am watching. What did you say? I am? So we do not clearly believe and understand, realize that I is the conscious mind. Why? I told you, because of attachment and detachment, because of the impurity of the mind. It does not want to believe. How can you say I am not there? My all desires, my all problems, my all relations, based on desire attachment, will go. Because of the fear, I do not negate this I created falsely by the conscious mind. Now you see the importance of being a qualified seeker. So the thought is there, thought is not there. Feeling is there, feeling is not there. Feeling continues there, thought continues. Where the experience is taking place, it is happening in the mind. Why you make it your own? Why you claim I am? I already told you. When there is an identification, causes the impurity, restlessness. And then we also have a tremendous fear inside. How can I negate who I am? Conscious mind thought is there. Conscious mind thought is not there. Conscious mind, the space is there. Conscious mind, some past impression triggers. Everything is okay. Where is that understanding? I do not have a thought and I do not have a space. It is happening in the conscious mind. Can you see the beauty of the metaphor? Canvas is happening, nothing on the canvas, nothing to the canvas. Whatever is happening at the third level, that mind borrowed the consciousness and then it says, I am. I have an experience, bad or good. Master says, I'm repeating for the sake of remembering, recalling, inquire into the nature of an individual, that I. Who is this I? Inquire into the nature of the world. All our experiences, possessions, whatever we own, whatever we want to own, our desire, that is nothing but the universe we have created. So when we understand the true nature of these two, the real self is already there. I need not to do anything. The same conscious mind now says I'm the real self. This is what happens. Real self, you say, pure consciousness, you say, whatever you want to name it. That does not matter. Peace, you say, happiness, you say. Going to the master again, you did not destroy the painting. Do you see that painting continues to exist of people, of mountains? What you negated, that needs to be understood. Horror movie is going on the TV screen. What you negated, Earth is stationary. What Earth is moving, what you negated. Here is the body, what you negated. You negate, I am not the body. You do not negate the body. So, do you feel that negation means controlling, suppressing? No, just an awareness. Do you suppress the wave to know the water? Do you do anything? Understanding, knowledge, awareness. When the mind is totally impure, they say that after all you are saying negated, it means I have to negate it. You see? That is why the master cautiously says qualified mind seeks, succeeds. Unqualified mind do not. Even the mind has to say you are in a state of doing nothing. Again, while negating the water in the mirage, you're not doing anything. You are knowing. Any experience comes, okay, and nothing to do with I. All experiences are taking place in the mind. You are knowing. You are not doing anything. I'm just comparing these metaphors and the similes to instantly make you aware. Now, I cannot sit in this pose for long. Oh, this I is the conscious mind, and you are talking of the body. You are knowing that I'm not the body. The thought and the feeling has erupted in the mind. Okay. So I don't see there is anywhere the I-ness is there. And you live, you know the state. Again, I'm just comparing. The earth is not stationary, but it appears. It appears that I feel uncomfortable, but that is an experience in the mind. So the association of the body, association with the air, the wave is created, is negated, because I know it is all water. When we live into that state, just for the sake of understanding, lot of so-called the mental power comes. You can categorize them as supernatural powers. Comfort. For the sake of saying, I'm saying you're comfortable, means the body is comfortable. You have an experience. Thoughts are coming and going where in the mind? Or are the thoughts going and coming in you? Explore, examine. It has nothing to do with you. No, no, but it is happening in my mind. So obviously, where is the I? That knowing. I said knowing. Again, I'm stressing. You don't destroy, you don't work on the wave to know it is water. You don't work on the blueness of the sky to know sky is not blue. You don't destroy the water in the mirrors to know it is mirrors. You know it inside. Where inside the conscious mind. Body appears as if I am the body, but negate. You examine, you explore, you inquire. So when I say you examine, you explore, and you inquire, it is the conscious mind. Check it again. If it really I, let me know. If you have found the I, we will change the entire principles of Eastern wisdom. We are saying inquire into the nature of an individual or I, the universe. So, what is the nature of the inquiry and knowing? So, if the conscious mind knows this I appears to exist but do not, so that very knowing is negating it. And the moment you negate it, all the thought belongs to the same category. So you are totally dissociated with all the thoughts and feeling and sensation. Oh, it's a part of the conscious mind. Finished. I'll continue to repeat this principle, but reminding you, I continue to see the earth is stationary. I see, but I know it is not. So I negate the stationary movement. For transactional purposes, I know it is stationary, so let me work. That is the beauty of mindfulness. That is that is why the master says live in a moment. But if you start making an effort that I is not properly understood, whether that individual exists or not, individual can't live in a moment. Finished. Why? It appears to exist, it does not. You might have heard a lot of people say, oh, I'm living in a moment. Past impressions, past thoughts, good and bad experiences, it instantly will create an I, and we forget. Forgetfulness is ignorance. Ignorance causes the suffering. Again, reminding the Master says, examine, explore an individual in you, universe, and the real self. The first two are negated naturally because of the knowledge. Wave is negated because of the knowledge of the water. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your mind on the right hand, your mind on the left hand. Lift your both the palms, place it on your eyes, open the eyes inside the palms. Know your experiences, share it, and bring the hands down. How are you, Stephen?
Good. It was a the lesson was I felt like I was in a gerbil wheel.
Yes,
just going around and around and around, thinking different things in relation to it. I believe that the very end, right before you started to chant, it came to me, I believe.
Yeah.
And it's this idea of working from the outside in and not from the inside out. And we have to achieve that by understanding what isn't true in
Yeah.
order to discover what truly is the real self. And then it was like just the thought just hit me. I said it's like looking at a metaphor of the canvas, but looking at it from the opposite direction. It's I see the painting, but it's not the actual painting, and it's not the brush strokes that made the painting, and it's not the stretch of the canvas. It's the fact that there's nothing there but a blank canvas.
Beautiful. It is self-explanatory. You see that? Now you can relate instantly the canvas and the painting. It is not. Fact is, it is canvas. Fact is, it is TV screen where the horror movie is going on. Fact is that Earth is not stationary. We see that in our daily life. Fact is that, if I say the beautiful woman is not wife, no, but never say to her. How are you, David and Jerry?
Thank you, sir. That I thoroughly enjoyed the talk and the lesson. It was very freeing, very simple, very smooth, very nothing. I mean, it just there were thoughts, but I was observing them going on, but those weren't my thoughts. There was thoughts, outside chattering, but inside I was very, very peace and calm.
Very peaceful. And you are right, perfectly right. The outside the chattering belongs to the mind, not to me. Finished. Beautiful, beautiful. That is what it should happen all the time. How are you, Jerry?
Sir, I'm good. Thank you. It went by very fast. And the lesson, I kind of simplified it, the thinking of like our children that are they our children? Because behind them, just because they came out of this body, it makes you feel like you're attached to it.
You are attached to it.
But if you see behind the child and you see behind the way they behave, right, and behind everything that appears, we're the same. And if we see that in everybody, then it just keeps it very simple.
Yes, it keeps simple because body came out of the womb of a mother. But did that I came out? I was created by the same child. I created by my mind. Look at it. It's another way to see the painting. That is also the painting outside. Beautiful. That's a beautiful understanding. So how are you, Anastasia?
Thank you very much. It was very peaceful and timeless. And today's lesson, I had a lot of contemplation during this meditation. In the morning, I was thinking about a lot about trauma and how people overcome their trauma, how they share their experiences, types of traumas, and so on. And today I had a lot of questions, and this lesson answers about seeing beyond. You are not your trauma, yes, and it answers a lot of my morning's questions. Thank you.
Yeah, Seeing the trauma takes place in the mind, and mind is not me. The mind falsely create an idea of I-ness. How are you, Samir?
Sir, today it was very deep. It was like mind was sinking inside me.
Hmm?
Sinking
Hmm.
means means it was going totally inside me, and I was becoming still.
Hmm?
It was nice feeling. Means after in whole meditation, I was in a good mood.
Beautiful. Yes, sinking also means that it is already naturally negated. So I'm aware. Again, see that, look at it. What I said, I am aware, conscious mind. So the moment, that is what the living in a moment is. It is not what people say, how are you, Sam? We didn't do the breathing.
We didn't do the breathing.
Well, we didn't do the breathing. Breathing normally relaxes you.
Well, this relaxed me too.
That's very good. No, I'm just teasing you. It relaxes you, yes.
All I could hear was your voice, and it was extremely peaceful.
Extremely peaceful, yes. So that understanding, that understanding. So we have covered all the 14 verses now. So 18 verses, he summarizes the teaching and then he goes deeper and deeper. He explores each and every aspect of our life. He answers each and every question. He removes all the doubt. That's why I told you this chapter consists of more than 269 to 70 verses. How are you, Vaibhav?
Sir, I'm good. It's like I'm kind of learning an ability to keep myself free from what is happening in the mind, keeping myself aware and let it go, whatever is coming in through the mind. It will pass on and it will be easy.
Only one thing to be noticed. That's a beautiful way. You said, I keep on noticing what is happening to mind. That I is also the mind. Whatever is happening, that is also the mind. We need that awareness. I believe you all have understood. When I say I am stressed, so that very I is the mind, stress is the mind, experience is the mind. Oh, so I negated it. So I'm free. What do you mean by negating? I know it. The way I know it, the earth is not stationary. The water is not in the mirrors. I'm living in a moment. That is all for today. Beautiful. Thank you very much for participating.
Merry Christmas.
Merry
So,
Christmas. Yeah, happy
Merry
Christmas.
Christmas.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Celebrate Christmas by living in a moment.
You look like Santa today too. Bye bye.
Bye.